Lesson 13-9, Area of Rectangles and Squares. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to use formulas to find the areas of rectangles, squares, and complex figures. Here are the two formulas that you'll need to have written down for today's lesson, so pause the video and make sure you have them both written down. So today we're going to go over the area of rectangles and squares. The area of a polygon is the number of square units that cover its surface. The square units may be square centimeters, square meters, square inches, and so on. So here we have how to find the area of a square. That would be the area equals side times side. Or here it is written out algebraically. A equals S times S, or it equals S squared. So A times S squared. The area of a rectangle would be the area equals length times width, or the area equals L times W, or just LW. So if we're given the area of a mirror that is 9.5 centimeters on each side, we would just multiply 9.5 times 9.5, and we would get 90.25 centimeters squared. So whenever we're doing area, we need to square our units that we have. So over here now, if we have a rectangle and we're told that it's a wall, okay, and it measures 16 2/3 feet by 10.5 feet, how big is that wall? Well, then we would multiply the 16 2/3 feet times 10.5 feet. Again, it's okay to drop the units off while you're doing the multiplying or dividing during your problems, and then you just add them on at the end. So I turn these into improper fractions, and I have 50 over 3 times 21 over 2. Then I can do some reducing. 2 goes in here 1 and 25 times. And then 3 goes in here 1 and here 7. So now I have 7 times 25, and that equals 175 feet squared. Let me write it here so you can see it better. 175 feet squared. Remember, whenever you're doing area, you need to square your units. I want you to try this one on your own. So if you have a rectangle that's 3¼ feet by 2 feet, what would the area be? So pause the video and figure it out, and then come back and check your work against mine. Okay, so I'm going to be multiplying 3¼ times 2. So then I turn this into my improper fraction. I have 13 over 4 times 2 over 1. And then I can reduce those down. And I have 13 over 2. And then that goes into there 6 times and 1 left over. So 6.5 feet squared. Okay, I hope that's what you were able to get as well. Sometimes we're given more complex figures like this one, and we need to find the area of that. So in order to do it, you need to break it up into shapes that you can find the area of. So they've gone ahead and put the dashed lines here and here, so that way we can see that we're going to have 3 different shapes that we're going to find the area of. So let's start off with this top rectangle right here. So they have 4 here. Well, then we need to figure out what this side is. If we look over here, we know that this part is 5, and this little line right here would be the same as this one, so it's 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. So we'll be multiplying 4 times 8 equals 32. So this part is 32. And then we have the square. So if this side is 3, we know on a square, we just multiply it. 3 times 3, and that would equal 9. So we have 3 times 3 for the next shape equals 9. I'll put a 9 in there. And now for this shape, we have the rectangle, and this side is 8, and this side is 2. So 8 times 2 is what we're going to multiply. 8 times 2 equals 16. And then we add all of these up, and when we add 32 plus 9 plus 16, we get 57, and our units are meters squared. So that would be the area of this complex figure. Alright, I want you to take a look at this figure here and figure out the area on your own, and then come back and check your work against mine. Okay, so for this figure, I'm going to block it off and have a shape like this, and then I'm going to draw a line here. So these are my 3 shapes. So this top rectangle, I have 4 times 11, which would equal 44. And then for this bottom one, it would be the same, 4 times 11, which equals 44. So now it's just this little section here. So if I take a look right here, I know that this is 4 and this is 4. This whole side is 12, so I can subtract off this 4 and 4. So 12 minus 8 equals 4. So I'm going to draw a little 4 right here. And then I need to figure out what this part equals. So all along here is 11. This whole length is 11. If I subtract this 9, it'll give me 2, which is right there. So 4 times 2 is 8. So now I add all those up, and it would be 8 plus 8 is 16. So 96 feet squared would be the area of this shape. Alright, I hope that's what you were able to come up with as well. Rewatch any part of the video that you need to before heading off to do today's assignment.